I believe, are live. No, wait. Welcome back to Arrakis Central, doing a live reaction to the latest episode of Dune Direct. And I'm gonna wait for a couple people to get in here, if we can. We'll see if we can get actually anybody in here. And listen, it's been a while since I did a video. I need to do a couple uploads, and I need to work on a couple of videos. And to do some announcement. Eventually, I'll do when I get my graded cards back. I'll do a giveaway. So, wait for a few people to get in here. Work on a couple of videos. It looks like. Huh. Interesting. We got one person in here already, or is that me? Well, so not a lot of people jumping in just yet. Yeah, let's see what we got. Let's see here if we can get anybody to join in. Let me go over to Discord real quick and see if anybody wants to watch my. Is this pretty much all? I guess I'm being told that this is mainly just lore. Yeah, we would rather we'll react to it. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Um, so welcome to the live stream, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and react to this Dune Direct. It's kind of long. It's 30 minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna periodically stop it. Hopefully, I don't get copywritten. Oh well. We'll see what happens here. So before we don't have a lot of people watching, but it doesn't look like we're getting my live streams never really get that many viewers, so that's why I usually just do videos. But we'll see if I can build. Once the game goes hot, I'm going to be live streaming that game all the time. So on here, yeah, this guy says late to the party. Yeah, on the Discord. Yeah, I couldn't. I have a full time job, so I don't get to. I don't get to just watch videos on Friday morning. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I can't. What, did this come out yesterday? Um, I was at work all day and then came home straight to family stuff. So it was a long week. I think I ended up falling asleep early. I was traveling last week and I just been decimated with just other stuff going on. So I'm behind on videos, I'm behind on this, I'm behind on everything because of life. So I've been trying to catch back up with some of this and get some actually live some play some Dune Spice Wars or Imperium again. I was doing a lot for a while, and this last probably month I just been bogged down with stuff, and I was doing a lot with those Dune Tops cards, which I have a they're all off getting graded right now. So that's gonna be cool once those get back, and I'm gonna do a live giveaway on here for one of those graded Dune Tops cards. So that'd be fun. I hit 25 subs, so I'm gonna go ahead and since I got a couple people in here watching, well, one guy, appreciate you watching. I'm gonna go ahead and play this thing. know if that's too loud. I don't think it's too loud.
Hello and welcome back to Dune Awakening Direct, our series where we discuss all things Dune Awakening. Okay. So thank you so much for joining us back here on Arrakis. We're starting today's episode off with a look at a trailer that we unveiled just recently at Summer Game Fest. Then we will welcome back Joel Bylos, the creative director for Dune Awakening, to take a deep dive into the history and talk about the spark that ignites, well, this inferno. And we'll also answer some questions you might have about the player's spiritual journey on our Arrakis with Leia Talbot,
I'm gonna turn my mic up a little.
Narrative designer.
You can hear me
we'll
instead.
also show some new specifics from the character
I'll turn my mic
creator
up.
and how you will start your journey on Arrakis and the decisions you will have to make before you embark on your journey. Then finally, we'll close
I'm just reacting. I have not seen it yet.
Who's going to shed some light on what makes Dune Awakening an MMO and what sets it apart from survival games you may have.
I haven't actually watched this yet.
So let's kick things off with our new story cinematic.
The only peace I find.
So we've seen this trailer already. We've seen this already. I did a reaction to this.
One where I, Paul Atreides, was never born. I created the future.
Well, I've seen this part.
It created me.
I haven't seen this episode. Yes.
But I see a narrow way. A path that might have been. What if my mother had obeyed
this part, yeah, was
given birth to a girl?
I've seen some people online kind of not liking that Paul's not going to be in there, but
Dr. Yue exposed before his
there's really no way you can have an MMO with the story as it is, because
surviving the Battle of Arrakeen,
unless they had did it like a prequel.
Deployed to protect the spice melange. A war of assassins spreading across the planet. Fremen exterminated. No Muad'Dib. No Lisan al-Gaib. No Kwisatz Haderach. All of my
I don't know how they would do it if they left the story exactly the same, because Paul, they take over Arrakis, so there's really no room for you to flourish. Fremen would just tear you up if you try to mine spice. Yeah, you would just get this. It makes no sense if they kept it in the normal timeline.
Now I have the utmost pleasure of welcoming back Joel for a quick chat. It's great to have you here again.
Thank you very much for inviting me back.
I need to get that T-shirt.
Obviously, Paul does not exist in this alternate timeline, or rather alternate history. That is huge. Please walk us through the thought process of that.
Sure. So when we started working on the game, we knew that we wanted to have different factions. We wanted
Hopefully
to have
they don't.
Arrakis.
Hopefully they don't
As a character cast a
copyright me for this. I'm part of their creator program, so I don't see why they would.
And we were looking for, like, how can we bring players in, make them.
I have not ever been contacted by anybody from Funcom or anything, or anything like that, other than just on the Discord like everybody else. I've just been out here. They did accept me, and I got approved for the Loot creator program, but I don't really know what to do on there.
And that changes.
There's all kinds of games you can
this real vacuum of power
you can get keys for, but I don't have any. My channels for Dune, so it doesn't help me.
Training this force of elite fighters that made the Emperor jealous, which made him make a deal with the Harkonnens, which made the Atreides still end up on Arrakis. But then because of the events
Paulina
that Jessica chose, she is now more tied to the Bene Gesserit faction, and they have trained her as a truthsayer, and she has the recognition of Yue's betrayal before it happens. And that leads to the Atreides being prepared for the Battle of Arrakeen, which means that they manage to defend themselves, which means that they don't get wiped out. And that leads to these major factions being in conflict on the planet of Arrakis.
Let's talk about Lady Jessica's decision then, which, started the whole thing here. Obviously, with her complying to the Bene Gesserit rule of having a daughter, why did she even make that decision in the first place?
Well, she's always been torn in her loyalties, right? She came to the Duke, and she fell in love with the Duke. But she also had the agenda of the Bene Gesserit in her mind.
I like how they kind of keep it like the movies, but it's not.
Of course, that the Duke never made her his wife, and she has to make a decision. And of course,
see, this
in the
is
book, she made the Paul decision. In our game, she
this is
made
interesting.
the
I wonder if it's going to show
decision. And that
adult.
I think that people are very complex, and
Whoever they're going to call this
very complex
girl, Atreides princess.
Torn in her loyalties. In this case, she chose the Bene Gesserit.
So let's talk about Arista's,
Dude, I want this game to come out so bad.
Is she taking up Paul's mantle, or is she just a completely different? I mean, she is a completely different person. What's her agenda? What's her spiel?
I mean, Arista has her own path to walk, right? And the path of the Lisan al-Gaib and the Kuzat's Haderach is not available to her.
Oh, Astra.
It doesn't happen, because events don't play out the same way.
I missed it. I wasn't listening there if they said the name of the daughter yet.
So she is a precocious girl. She grew up with the Bene Gesserit training that her mother...
Oh, they're talking about it right now.
The Mentat training that Thufir would have given to Paul, right? She has sword masters like Duncan Idaho training her, and the great troubadour Gurney Halleck teaching her. So she has a lot of the same abilities and trainers as Paul, but she finds herself in a very different situation in the world because, of course, the end goal of the Bene Gesserit here is that the daughter of House Atreides marries the heir of House Harkonnen in order to create their Kuzat's Haderach.
Do hate that for her, I'm not gonna lie.
so Arista ends up under a completely different set of pressures, right? And that leads to a very different sort of
Arista
for her.
That's what he said.
Yeah, obviously with the Duke as well as the Baron both being alive, what's happening to Arrakis, to our beautiful planet here? Who has fiefdom
Okay,
over
so Harkonnens are still there.
So
that's good. It was kind of unclear on that.
Or after the Battle of Arrakeen, when the Harkonnen attacked.
So Fade is there is still there.
Duke Leto petitions
I'm assuming
Lansrad,
Raban,
the
Fade, and the Baron are all still there then.
War can continue on the
along with
Arrakis, but it has to
Arista,
be continued.
Atreides,
So he
Bene
says it's fine
Gesserit
for them to fight as
princess.
long as they're there, but he also declares that spice still has to flow freely. So he sends the Sardaukar to police the spice harvesting operations and make sure that spice still flows out of Arrakis and into the Imperium because it's such an important resource.
So, looking at Arrakis, in the trailer it does say at the very end, the Fremen they're gone, essentially? Are they gone, or are we, figuring out where they went?
This is the part I was interested in.
That's the central
How are they going to
mystery of
explain the Fremen?
Right? The Fremen are missing. Imperium propaganda would say that they've been exterminated.
Okay, so they're not
but
dead.
We have our doubts. So as a player...
So Fremen are going to pop up and mess with us, probably. There'll be NPCs or something.
And as you play through the world, you walk...
They went deep south, probably.
Places where the Fremen once were. You explore their rights. You explore their culture. But where are the Fremen?
So there's going to be Fremen stuff and relics everywhere, probably. There's going to be Fremen relics to find, probably weapons and still suits and stuff. Chris knives to use.
Traversing through Arrakis.
Both their impact,
that's going to be cool.
Of what they left behind when they left the abandoned Seaches and things like that, but also the vacuum of power, right? Because the Fremen that was their territory, and they were extremely fierce about defending it. And with them not in the area, other people have started to fill in the gaps.
I do want to talk about the impact that story and narrative has, though, on Dune Awakening, because it is a survival MMO. If we're looking at the survival part, usually the extent of story in a survival game is, oh no, your plane crashed. Oh no, you're shipwrecked. Oh no, it's an apocalypse. Figure it out. Clearly, that is not the case for Dune Awakening. There is a lot of story to be explored for the players.
Absolutely, I think we want to give players a.
So I guess this entire video is only lore, huh? Not any news on the games.
They can explore the world.
Open
and
beta.
They have this backbone story thread
or nothing.
Following through as well. If
it's not looking like we're gonna get an open beta anytime, maybe till the end of the year.
It's there, but
if they were smart, they would do it when that show comes out.
In-depth story, and it's kind of always.
Well, they can't release it if it ain't ready.
So you're always having to
That's
think
understandable.
about what people actually want, what the motivation is. Like, why are you looking for the Fremen? Is it a really important question that you should probably ask yourself as a player? Like, what exactly have you been sent to do this for? And I think these kind of elements provide a little more motivation for players as they explore the world.
I do love that. What are your thoughts here generally? I mean, obviously by creating an alternate history and timeline.
It's not really an alternate history, like they're saying. It's kind of a separate path.
To see similar beats
it's like an alternate golden path, or not really a golden path, but it's an alternate path that he can see.
I think that just because Paul doesn't exist,
which he never really explored it because it's without him.
Right, and they're still trying to achieve the things that they were trying to achieve, even when Paul did exist, right, in his universe. So you will encounter, first of all, characters who maybe
Gamescom. I'm gonna have to.
They're present in the game. You'll also.
I don't know how that works. I'm not really a official.
But in a slightly different
I mean, I'm part of the creative program now, but I'm not really like a games journalist, so I have no clue. I would have no idea how to get a press pass or go to Gamescom or. I'm trying to make this my full attention eventually.
That kind of leads to very interesting consequences as you play.
Yeah, I love the far-reaching consequences.
I don't know much about going to conventions and stuff like that.
Of the game as well.
And I don't even know what it is.
We talked last time already about, respecting the source material, which there is so much to draw from with the books and the movies.
It's in Germany.
How do you make sure when you're creating an alternate history, that's a big step. How do you make sure that you're not veering too far away from that?
Yeah, history is the same as just.
I mean, I think it's just a matter of like taking the source material as always the starting point, like being able to extrapolate out in ways that are like as logical.
Oh, it's probably Gamescom's probably in the exact same. I've been to that convention center.
My conclusion is
in Cologne, Germany.
And
that's probably the exact same place they did that Warhammer convention I did in 2000.
As a logical conclusion. So we start there. Then of
when
course,
was that? 2012.
Partners at Legendary, and
I went to like one of the last
and keep us in line with what we should be doing.
Games Day, Warhammer 40K Games Days. They had one of the last ones they ever did was in Cologne, Germany. I was living in Germany at the time. I went to it. I'm assuming this is where this is going to be at, the same giant convention center downtown there.
We do our research and we always start with the source material.
And I mean, I think it's pretty clear from everything you've said, from everything we got to see thus far, that there's a lot of love and respect for the Herbert's writing, for the source material we're also seeing from the movie. So I know for sure that the game is in very good hands with you guys, Joe.
Thank you. I mean, I will say the one thing that we try to do is just make sure that we preserve the legacy. And part of the reason for doing an alternate timeline is
I lived in Germany for 13 years, actually.
What's been created that's amazing. We want to do the sideways thing and not actually ruin.
Cologne's a pretty cool city.
And it's honestly so smart, because in doing so, you now opened up this whole new alternate timeline for everyone. And now let's actually hand it over to Leia for a look at how this alternate Arrakis is still just as steeped in spirituality for all of our players to explore.
She's definitely European. She's German or something. Leia, is she French or Dutch or something?
In Dune, Paul uses the Fremen prophecy
sounds French.
of Messiah as a tool for survival, right? He sees the path ahead.
She could be Dutch, maybe.
Sees the consequences of this decision, but he has to push forward because all the other path leads to chaos and to the end of his family's legacy. Your story is also one of survival, but you are
the main guy there. Yeah, he's definitely
embrace the chaos instead of
New Zealand or Aussie or something. But the lady there, she sounded German or somewhere, Austrian German or one of those Germanic accents. But then this lady sounds French to me.
Of many of the people you will come across. Our Arrakis is still the harsh, unforgiving planet created to train the faithful, but Jessica's decision to bear a daughter, Ariste, instead of Paul, has created an entirely different political environment.
My wife is German, actually.
To navigate. You will have to evolve in a world in turmoil, a world with no clear dominant force.
My oldest
that
son was
is,
born in Germany.
Embroiled in a long and exhausting war of assassins. This power vacuum is breeding instability, but also opportunity for many, including you, the player. Arrakis is a crucible from which many factions and groups and sects have splintered and spread and festered, each with its own set of beliefs and waging a war against each other.
I like how this
fighting for
company
their
really
own
focuses on the
patch
game and the
of
story of the
desert.
game, and they're not
Like,
putting a
for
lot of.
example, the Masquerade, who are a
So far, they
cult
haven't
of
really
religious
been like pushing a
fanatics
lot of
who have
real world
copied and
politics or
twisted
agenda in
even
any of their
from way
videos
of
that I've
life.
seen. So I like that.
As a player, you
It
may
seems like
not
that's-
be the
that's kind of a
Messiah,
thing
but
nowadays.
The spice will still guide you in your journey.
For a lot of other
you
companies.
will have to learn the ways of the desert by following the teachings left by the Fremen and undergo the mystical
I don't want to see
trials
real
of
world stuff.
battle. Because
We want to get
for
away
the
from it
Fremen,
while I'm playing a
learning to
video game
survive
or a
Arrakis
movie
is
or a show.
already in itself a spiritual
Because I get to
awakening,
see it every day.
spiritual journey. Villeneuve's movies have shown us the danger of taking up the mantle of a spiritual leader. They have shown us the power that comes from it, but also the damage it can cause. This story, however, has already been told. Yours has yet to be written.
Yeah, this the game. I mean, everything they've showed us, this game looks so good. It looks like it's ready. You know what I'm saying? But I guess. I wonder what they're using for their.
Now that we know a little bit about the
Their
story of
server
Dune Awakening's Arrakis, let's look at
infrastructure.
how our journey
it's-
begins with Niels,
They're using some
producer
sort of
on our
cloud
creative team.
infrastructure, or is everything hosted in proprietary owned data centers, or what they're doing? Does Funcom own its own data centers, or is it all cloud outsourced, or is it a renting space somewhere? I wonder.
Today I'll be walking you through the first moments of Dune Awakening, character creation, where we find out who you are and what you look like. Let's take a look. Here we have our character
this is what I want to
creation
see.
screen.
Okay, there we go.
Expression and customization is one of our key pillars in Dune Awakening, and that starts here.
Cool. You can actually.
There's a lot of customization options available for you.
Looks like you're going to be able to
If you want a
actually.
starting off point, or just want to move past the customization and straight into gameplay, you can make use of some of the preset character looks we've got available.
Nice.
If you're like me and like making your own character from scratch, however, then there's plenty of options for you to play
Should make
with.
a giant Harkonnen looking
You
dude.
can change your body type and your general body shape, tweaking anything from height to the thickness of your arms or legs to adding freckles or even vitiligo. There's too many small details for me to delve into all of them, but it's safe to say that if you love sliders, we've got plenty of them.
Vitiligo.
Apart from being
Is that
able
what
to
Michael
tweak
Jackson
the
had?
minute details of your nose or your mouth, you can even affect your age. Look at that. Looks great to me. The other classics like hair, beards, and eyebrows all have
I
different
wonder
choices
if
for you
you
to make or affect.
Get your eyes of Ibad
top of
later
that,
on.
you
The
can
more
also add
spice
in
you eat or something.
tattoos and facial scars.
If you start off with regular eyes and then you.
We even let you choose how faded with age they've become. Play around a bit with our makeup options, and soon enough, I think you'll have a character you can enjoy exploring Arrakis with. Now that we've selected our physical appearance, we give our character a name and we continue, because we're more than just a pretty face. Customization is about more than just how you look. It's about who you are and where you come from.
Have they told you what I am? Then I will sift your words for lies.
Oh, she's gonna check you.
Where were
Truth
you
sayer.
born?
Your character's background affects how they get to interact with the people of Arrakis, giving you different dialogue options depending on who you are. For the sake of this video, we'll be choosing the home planet of the Atreides, Caladan.
Yeah, I'll probably
A
pick
world of
Atreides.
water, homeworld of the
I'm gonna make a
Atreides.
Atreides
Next,
loyalist
We
character.
determine your caste, where you belong in the strict hierarchies of the Imperium. We'll select Na Familia for now, belonging to the noble caste.
Did you give bad advice? Or make a bad deal? To be close to power is to walk the knife's edge.
Man, I can't wait to play this
You had a
dang game, dude.
mentor in your youth, trained by one of the schools. Who was your mentor?
Unlike the other choices, this gives us a starting ability, something we can use right as we boot into the game. Don't worry, you're not locking yourself into a class or a specific archetype. In Dune Awakening, we allow
I haven't
you to
got
create
shut
your
down
own
or
playstyle.
pinged yet,
So
so it
if
looks
you
like
want
they're
to
gonna
combine
let me
mentat abilities
review
with
this.
those of the Bene Gesserit,
Live react to it.
all you
That's
need to
pretty
do
cool.
is find the right people to train you and choose the loadout that works
Thank
best
you,
for
Funcom, for not.
For right now, though, we'll choose the mentat.
As of right now, I'm gonna love this game probably if it's anything close to Conan or Ark or Rust. You know what I'm saying? If you at least give me base building, harvesting, resource collecting, I mean, I'm not gonna be like, oh, this story isn't exactly. At the end of the day, we're not gonna really care about the story that much, probably.
Great plots are afoot in the Imperium, and the currents of intrigue run deeply.
The only thing that can hurt this game is if it has severe glitches and server lag and crashes and stuff like that. That's the only way this game looks like it's gonna. If it could have issues, that's what they would be. As long as they figure all that out, I don't see this being a bad game.
And with that cryptic message, your journey begins.
Cool, they left the highliner the same as the movie. That's pretty cool. Technically, it's supposed to be a ship that everybody docks on and it jumps, but that's the movie did the same thing. It is pretty cool looking.
Now, before we move on to another topic, is there anything you can share, Joel, about the state of development for the game?
Sure. So we've recently opened what we call persistent beta. And what that means is that we're leaving it up 24/7. We have lots of players in there who are testing the game from start to finish, which means that they start in the desert and that they're hopefully passing through the faction system.
So, let me pause for a couple seconds. So they're doing a persistent beta running right now. Okay. Man, that would be awesome to get into that. Shoot. I would play this every waking minute. I have a beefy system. I've got a 4090 i9, all that stuff. Fiber internet. I know you can't live stream or none of that, but man, I could really get them some good feedback on this. I know I'm on the waiting list like everybody else to get in that thing closed beta, but oh well. Guess can't talk about it, even if I was.
Choosing their sides, and then eventually reaching the end game where they're helping us to test like the deep desert where, you know, people will be harvesting spice with big groups, and also testing things like the Landsrad, which is the end game political system. Now, not all of these features are online, and in fact, if you look at the beta right now, there's a lot of fires to put out, and plenty of bugs they've been finding for us along the way. But yeah, so this is where we're at. We've gotten these features in. We're trying to now
open beta, man. If they get at least
player data on
limited open beta
really
by the time Dune Prophecy, the TV show, comes
That's
out.
what I love the most about betas.
Because they got to keep the Dune hype going, man. The movie's already been out already.
You didn't even think possible.
Absolutely, I like that.
They keep this Dune train going.
They managed to do it on one server where they
everything else sucks right now, dude. That's all I watch is freaking Dune. I watch Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 over and over again.
And here it is. Everybody frozen in place, just silently looking at each other, talking in chat.
There's just literally nothing good on TV. House of the Dragon just came out.
You know,
that's it. That's all we got.
The fun. But I do want to thank our beta testers.
Worth a damn, anyways.
Because I know we're testing your patience at the same time.
Star Wars is lame now.
Now with
not watching that anymore.
More persistent or continuous rather, does that also mean that people who are not in the beta can expect to see some more in-game footage soon, some more glimpses of combat, for example?
Yeah, exactly. So as we move forward through the year, we're going to be showing more and more gameplay from the game, more of the combat system, which has been being revamped, melee, abilities, shooting, all of the things that people would expect to see. And in addition to that, we're also expanding the beta over time. So again, more and more people are getting in, and then they're in permanently, right? Because it's a persistent beta. So it will grow larger and larger and begin to pick up momentum as the year continues.
Joel, I would love to discuss a bit of a more technical aspect. Of course, Dune Awakening, it's a survival game, it's an MMO. Two different game types, which I'm sure on the back end.
Still no hints of an open beta. Just this closed beta for the rest of the year, it seems like.
Different aspects from a server
this game's not coming out this year, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to see a closed beta this year either. Or open beta, I mean.
Nautica, you have these, like, you know, local server 8-player
doesn't seem like it.
Valheim style games. Then you have larger single server like Conan Exiles or Ark. You have large sort of players on a single map. And then with Dune, what we're trying to do is have these multiple maps where you can play with many, many hundreds of people, right? So you'll be playing with lots of other players, right? So it is a large world to explore and share with others.
Can I assume I am in a server with many, many people. Can I move between servers, or can I group up with people on different servers? Is that possible?
Yeah, so when players start to play Dune Awakening, they choose a world. And that world allows them to, you know, it's almost like choosing a server in an MMORPG, but it's a large infrastructure of connected servers, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the idea is that as a player, you join, you start in a map, and from there your experience should be relatively seamless in terms of how you explore and feel the world. The difference between the reason we call it a survival MMO as opposed to just a survival game is that most survival games do one map, one server, but we have multiple connected servers running in a single world. So this is kind of where we come from, and it also allows us to have a lot more players in this structure.
Multiple server meshing in those zones.
Am I playing with like?
I'll go back to that scene and look at it after this is over.
Can I play with people from other servers? Can I group
so we're gonna have
be in a guild with them?
different zones.
You can be in a guild
like 4 zones, if I looked at that right.
Within your world,
that's kind of how I envision it from what they've explained so far. How I was imagining it.
When you join the game, you start in a server which is a Hager Basin, right? We call it the Hager Basin. The Hager Basin is the starting server. It's a server with a minimum of 40 other players. It's a place where you can build, craft, survive.
So Hager Basin is our PvE.
If you want to play specifically with friends, you want to join the same version of Hager Basin because Hager Basin can have multiple versions. And then from there, you move outwards.
I can select which Hager Basin I'm starting with. So like if we start in the game at the same time, I can make sure that we're spawning in the same.
Not only that, our server browser also tells you where your friends are playing.
Okay, perfect.
So it tells you exactly who's on which server, so which dimensions and which areas, so you'll know.
Okay, so we have different areas, different servers, different maps on said servers. How do I traverse between maps?
So once you're ready to leave the Hager Basin, you craft yourself an ornithopter, for example, and you fly out into what's called the Overland map. And the Overland map is a server, again, running, that you can meet hundreds of other players on and allows you to see all the locations in the world. So you physically fly between locations on the Overland map.
Now you said my homies can come pick me up. If you're a good homie and you don't want to put me in a dangerous spot, where do you bring me?
This is a good explanation.
Where can I meet other people? Where can I meet up with my
This is a serious game.
Yeah, so once you've sort of explored the Hager Basin and you leave with your friends, you go out into what we call the Overland map. And in the Overland map, you have an overview of the entire world and you can sort of see like the different maps that you have as an option.
Ooh, that's
interesting. One of those options are the social hubs, Harko Village and Arrakeen, which are differently themed based on the different factions in the game, obviously, right? So you can go.
It looks like that Overland map is going to be. It's going to look like that, I guess.
Fairly okay.
I'm guessing it's going to look like that kind of overview map.
Piece. And in there, there's bars to visit, vendors to visit. There's the Chome exchanges there.
Cool. We can go hang out at Arrakeen.
And of course you and your friends can go dancing if you want in the clubs.
Okay, did not expect that to be part of the game, but you gotta.
There's going to be a lot of people standing in there dancing around.
Once I'm done dancing
emoting.
and I slept off my probably hangover, I want to get out into the action. Where am I going?
Oh, nice!
So
you got 5 people watching.
To the Overland map, and you'll fly to the Deep Desert. The Deep Desert is this massive area. It's 500 kilometers squared.
Deep Desert, okay.
Or minimum 500 kilometers squared. It's actually a bit larger than that. There's and that's where you can meet hundreds of other players. There is probably going to obviously be a player cap if 2.
So how do you get your spice? How do you transfer your goods back to your?
That's a completely seamless set of servers that
other
are all connected together. It's
Haga Basin
generally
base.
a PvP map with a strip of PvE as people
when you just fly with it in your ship and it goes with you.
Map and don't get ganked. And then you head out into the desert and you have these adventures where you're harvesting spice. The cool thing about the Deep Desert, and this is one of the things that I think I've mentioned last time, is kind of unique, is that we have this thing called the Coriolis Storm. And every week the Coriolis Storm wipes the Deep Desert And
I'm
resets
assuming
it
you have
with
to
a new
fly to
landscape
an edge, an
and new
exit
points of
point,
interest. So it's an
to
infinitely
get to the
explorable
overland
space
map. I'm
and a really
guessing
cool
you
place
can't
to hang
just
with your friends.
pick it and
I
warp
love
out.
that.
Unless
It
there's
really
a
sounds like a
timer
very
for
unique blend of different elements from different types
maybe there's
of
like a
games that you
engagement timer
combine
like
here
EVE
together.
Online
I'm super
has, where
interested
you
to see how
can't,
that all plays out. Now,
you
before
know,
we
you have
say
to wait a
goodbye
timer
to
if you're
viewers,
if you're in combat,
any last thoughts
or
you're having
there's
on
aggression near
the
you.
server
You
infrastructure
can't
and your
just
approach
log
here?
out.
Sure, I think it's the important thing for me as a creative director to point out here is just we built this with the idea of making the game last and be expandable for
Oh,
a
that
long
sucks.
time.
People
So
left.
the idea of the overland map and being able to place new maps within the map allows us to just keep building on the world and giving players more content, more things to play, more spaces to explore. Like, who knows what it looks like 5 years from now, right? That for me is the main thing. And I think survival games have typically struggled with this a little bit because of the one server, one map paradigm. That making the world feel seamless and connected has always been one of our goals on Dune Awakening.
So the future for Dune Awakening is very
This reminds me
bright,
of like
what I'm
a
hearing.
better version
Joel,
of Star Wars
thank you so much for joining
Galaxies.
us once again. Before I let you go, though, is there anything the people watching should be aware of happening?
Sure. I mean,
Here we
we've
go.
just been at Summer Games Fest, and anyone who's Dune starved, wants some more information, should probably be out there hunting down articles, which I'm sure are spreading around the internet at this very moment. But of course, our next big beat coming up is Gamescom in August. And there we'll be showing the game live and allowing people to have a look at the future of what Dune Awakening can and will be.
Am I really going to get a plane ticket and go to Cologne
Well, Joel, it was so
in
great
August
to,
to
have
go
you
watch
back
this?
again here today.
Thanks very much for having me.
Always. And I'm super excited to see what you and the team have to offer at Gamescom. And in the meantime, remember to wishlist the game on Steam.
Do you guys remember that old Star Wars Galaxies?
Also, of course,
I played that for a little while when that came out.
On Discord to
way
take
back in the
part
day.
in all the discussions and keep up to date. We also have regular sneak peeks on TikTok, Instagram, as well as YouTube. But that's it from us here today. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and make sure to join us for the next Dune Awakening Direct.
Nice. Well, that was it. I'm gonna go back to that part about the map. Where's that map at? Oh, I passed that. Right here.
Large infrastructure of connected.
So right here. Okay. Well, that last part was way better than the first part. The character creation and this explanation. So it was actually, the video was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Thanks for joining the stream. Those of you just tuning in now, I just finished watching the entire Awakening Direct Part 2, and now I'm going back to look at this map they were talking about in the different zones. So multiple servers on each of these zones. Social hub at the village, social hub at Arakeen, Haga Basin, where you'll start. Multiple servers there. This is, I guess, the PvE area where you can build your base. And then you'll have your deep desert where all the real action is going to happen, where you can build your temporary PvP base, which gets wiped weekly. I think they said before. They didn't say that in this video, did they? They didn't mention that it gets wiped weekly out here. That's what they said in the last video, or one of the videos. So supposedly this will be wiped weekly out here. So I'm assuming our base we make will be safe in here. PvE only, hopefully. I suck at Ark. I got raided many times while I was at work. So pretty interesting. It looks like they're going to expand for 3 other areas. What's World 2, World 3, World 4? What's that? Is that the servers? That's interesting. Oh, they did say there's different worlds you can join. So I don't know if you're going to exactly see all the servers listed, like these standard survival games, where you have all the servers around the world listed. You can join any of them. Is there going to be... It doesn't look like there's going to be any custom single player. They've never mentioned that, so I don't think we're going to have that. That's probably why they're doing the safe PvE area. Pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting stuff. So the closed beta is going on. They said that. They said that's going to continue on through the year. He did say that. So it looks like we're going to be stuck in that for a while. Let's see. The character creation looked pretty standard. Nothing too crazy cool there, other than the standard. To me personally, just kind of like a standard character creator. The story is. I'm not gonna lie. The story is my last priority with it. We kind of got it. It's an alternate timeline in Paul's head, one of his paths in his vision. That's all we really need to know. It's not like something that I really, unless there's going to be an extensive PvE story set of missions, like a real story to play through, like a campaign. If it doesn't have that, then the story's pretty much, hey, we're in here surviving on this planet where there's no Fremen really, and there's no Paul Atreides. So that's all we really care about. Other than that, it looks like the flyover zone. Here, I'm guessing this is what we're going to see in the flyover map. Where's it at? Let me get to it. Where the heck is that flyover map? Right here. I guess this is what we're going to see when we fly. Yeah. Yeah, this is exactly what we're going to see. Look, because you can see the controls right here. So this is what that flyover zone is going to look like. Can we just fly around here? Or is it like that? Or is it, you know what I'm saying? Can we get like pirated in this mode? Like pulled out of the slipstream? I don't think so. So I think we're just going to fly around in here. That seems kind of like interesting. So I'm assuming we have to have an ornithopter to go there. You can't just land travel to Arrakeen. Like go to the edge of the map on the Haga Basin. That's pretty interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody still on here? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And that was one thing they didn't really mention yet is do you fly? So when you move to a different zone, do you just hit a map and you go? Or do you, and you can kind of time out if you're not, if you're not engaged with enemy contact or PvP or PvE or whatever, can you just warp out anytime? Or do you have to fly to an extraction point on the side of the maps or something? That would be interesting to know how that's going to work. It was pretty cool seeing you have all your weapons and stuff on the wall. You can kind of set up a workshop. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not good at PvP, so I'm gonna be really playing a lot of the story / PvE base building and PvE story missions, or PvE, missions or activity. Because I am just not good at PvP gameplay. I always suck at it. So that's where I'm gonna probably end up being on that, unless I get part of a big group or a house or something. But other than that, that was about it. I don't have much other. This is, I don't know. I think I might have liked this edition better than the part 1 because it explained all how the servers are gonna work. I think this might have been a more informative Dune Direct, honestly, if I remember correctly. When's the next Dune Direct gonna come out? We have to wait another 3 months. What did you guys think about this one? I liked it. I actually learned a lot more than I thought I was gonna learn. I thought the whole video was gonna be lore, but it wasn't. It was only about the first 13 minutes of it. 16 minutes. Yeah, we got half of it was about character creation and servers and the beta. Yeah, not bad. Pretty good video. Pretty good. Let me see if I can see anything about the character creator here. You can standard stuff. Nothing too crazy here that I noticed. Nothing too interesting, like other than I didn't notice your eye color, so I'm assuming your eye color is going to change with the more spice you eat. Our eyes will turn blue, I guess. Bene Gesserit is the character creator, essentially. That's funny. I wonder how big of a base we'd be able to build. I wonder what kind of news. I'm trying to look right now to see. Yeah, not much else going on. In Dune Awakening, you will physically fly your armor between servers. Dune Awakening gameplay and story details emerge. Developer. Yeah, all one day ago. Twitter. Yeah. Other than that, I didn't really see. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool. Joel Bios explains why Dune Awakening is an actual MMO. I've never really followed a game like this so well in its development, other than I used to be really following Star Citizen, but that's taken like 15 years and there's still not barely the game still crashes and all those issues. So I just kind of like gave up on following that game until it's done. I do like it, but it's like, yeah. Well, they put all their initial research and development into the single player game campaign. So they just in the beginning of the year they started put more resources to the Star Citizen multiplayer version. So, but as of right now, I'm gonna be playing this game full time once it comes out, live streaming on here. So stay tuned. Yeah, you follow Star Citizen. Yeah, I've got a lot of money dumped into that game actually. I've been playing Star Citizen since it was just the hangar mod. Shoot, where there was not even a ship in there. When was that? 2000. That had to have been like 2000. I was still in the army, so it must have been like 2014 or something when I first bought into it. When did that come out? When the hangar mod came out? I've been following Star Citizen for, man, that's 10 years. Holy crud, I've been. That must have been when I backed around that time too. I just wish that game would just. Dude, what do they have, like $600 million and they can't figure it out? See, where they messed up with that game is they had to like they wanted to have this big vision they promised of like 1,000 systems to go to or whatever the heck, right? And then it was all supposed to be with server side technology where you could put an item on a planet on a rock and come back in 6 months and your item's still sitting there on that rock in that star system. And I just don't know if that was too big of a vision for modern day technology or not. I mean, with the one server essentially, or however they're going to do it, but it's ambitious. I played Elite Dangerous. I was an alpha backer on Elite Dangerous. I paid like the $300 for Elite Dangerous when it was in development, and then I got into like the dogfighter. They had like a dogfighter mode. You could fly the ship around. I think you just fought like one ship, and then it became like a wave thing. I think you could fight a couple of them. Yeah, I remember that game was. I remember when Elite Dangerous first came out, I was like blown away. Dude, and now that game is just they added that janky station walking, and it's horrible, man. It's so glitchy, and the graphics are so horrible on there, on the stations and the walking around. I quit playing Elite Dangerous because of that. $700 Yeah, Star Citizen, man. I'll play it. I mean, I own the damn thing. I mean, eventually I'll play it. I got money in that game. Honestly, I've sunk some money into that game. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting when that. Oh, if you're just now watching, thanks. I think some people popped in the stream. I've already went through and watched the Dune Direct Part 2. I was just going back in the video to see if I missed anything. There really was. The big thing was they talked about uh the story. It's an alternate path in Paul's mind where he's not born. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff. Harkonnens are still there. Lady Jessica has a daughter instead, named Estra or Astra or Estria, I think they said. And then she's supposedly going to be in the game. I don't know, as a NPC. So there's a backstory going on, and then they showed us this character creator here. Didn't look very, crazy. This is pretty standard. Graphics look good. And then they moved into they said the closed beta. So it's a persistent beta. I didn't realize they were doing a persistent beta or ongoing beta. That's what he said. So he confirmed that, the Joel Bylos guy, that it's not just like a. Oh yeah. I didn't mention that. Yeah, Duke Leto's still there. So Duke Leto is still there. Arakeen. I think in that one trailer it said that the Emperor sends Sardaukar to guard the spice harvesting. So I guess we're gonna be able to like raid a spice harvester and fight Sardaukar. That'd be pretty cool, right? They're probably gonna kick your butt. They're probably gonna be brutally hard to beat. Man, I'm just thinking about Star Citizen still. We were just talking about that and how just wild that's gonna be when if I logged into it. The cities are still glitchy and laggy. That's the biggest problem with that game. When you first load into the game, you're in one of the big cities or ports, and it's just like lag fest. The graphics are so bad, and then once you get out into space and fly away, then it clears up a bit. They need to figure that out. And it just takes so long because you have to like get in your ship and then you have to go fly up in there and go land on a station just and then yeah. They wipe that every wipe. They wipe your money. I'm kind of waiting until it goes into beta to play that, but start playing it heavily. But this game comes out next year. Possibly maybe an open beta at the end of the year. I don't know. I'm guessing. But I'll be playing this full time. This will be the only game. This is really the only game I'm looking forward to playing. I've been playing Tarkov, the single player Tarkov that came out, the PvE, just for wasting time. But other than that, I haven't really been playing anything. I'm an EVE Online player, so I played that, but I haven't logged in a while. Well, I played last week, but for a little bit. EVE Online's pretty cool, but that's a pay to win fest on that game. It's funny how people complain about pay to win, but they never really talk about EVE Online. That's a severe pay to win game. Any EVE Online players here? I wonder if this is going to have microtransactions. They haven't mentioned that at all, have they? They're going to have to make money. Let's just hope it's not like... Yeah, Vanguard, I played it. I played the first alpha, whatever, on the when it first... I didn't really like it that much, the Vanguard. It seemed very bare bones. I thought it was gonna be like loot. Yeah, the game's... I want to be able to... The problem I have with Vanguard is I want to like pick up like weapons, and there's nothing to work towards, like new weapons, or unless they're gonna add that later. But it seemed... And armor and equipment and different weapons and like the game. So the ships have all that, right? All the massive amount of different types of equipment you can put on those ships. The Eve ships. I thought the ground battle was going to be like too. Dust 514. I played that on PS3, right? I played that a little bit, but back in those days I was playing more Warhawk. Remember Warhawk? The other old Warhawk on PS3? That game was awesome. Dude, I love that Warhawk so much. I got a PS3 emulator on my PC, and I got the game, and there's actually servers running. So you like log into their like the server thing. You have to like sign up for it on Discord. You have to join their Discord, and then they add you in to... I don't know how that works, but they add you into it, and then you can play Warhawk online, because that game's been turned off for a while. I don't know. I don't know why they don't have a good game like that. This game's going to be on, so I'm wondering if it's crossplay. Yep, there should have been. Just brought the game to PC instead. They brought Dust to PS3 less than 1 year before PS4 launch. Yeah, I think I only played that Dust like once or twice. I don't even remember. It turned off, right? They shut it down. I played the E Valkyrie more than I played Dust on the VR, which I don't even know if it still works on the... I don't know if E Valkyrie is still running either, because I bought the new headset. I think I have it. I'm gonna try and load it up. I think it doesn't load up. I think I tried to load it up on the new head. I got a we bought a Quest 3, which is pretty cool actually. I think I tried to boot up E Valkyrie. I think it crashes. A couple games do that. I don't think it works on the new headset. I think they stopped supporting it. Man, VR is such a disappointment, because they never really have a full game experience on them. It's always like this dancings and shootings and these like half games. Like they're like phone apps, but a VR. There's very few like full games on there. That's the problem with VR. It's all novelty. Everything's a novelty still. There's not like a full story game. I mean, you can get Skyrim VR, and you can get Fallout 4, but those are games we already had. Like, I want something that's like... They all seem kind of... Everything with VR seems a little janky to me. Elite Dangerous on there's awesome. And the visuals on like Quest 3 are like probably 2 times better than the Quest 2, the screens. I can actually read the words. I don't need to put my glasses on in that one. The Quest 3 is pretty worth it, actually. It's pretty cool. My kid loves it. I don't think this will be VR. They need to hurry up and get a. I don't know if these studios and these companies are not. Oh, what's that? I forgot the. I feel like VR works best in cockpit driven. Yeah. Yeah, VR is all gimmicky still to me. Yeah. This company's well, they Funcom's on top of it with this Dune Awakening, but why are we not seeing other companies making Dune games? You know what I'm saying? Why don't we have like a Assassin's Creed style game as Dune, or that Mad Max game came out a couple years ago? Yeah, Dune version of that. Somebody should mod that game and make it Dune. that game's cool. The old Mad Max game, the open world one. I thought that was a pretty cool game. I still gotta watch that new Mad Max movie. I heard it's good, but it's flopping at the theaters because you make a Mad Max movie with no Mad Max. What do you think's gonna happen? Mad Max is one of those things where it's like, I was a little kid when that was like a big thing in like early 80s, and I never really watched the original Mad Max. I always watched the Road Warrior, and then I watched Thunderdome. But that's like such a specific like the character Max is so specific to the franchise. Like you can't make a movie without Mad Max in it. it's like let's make a Mickey Mouse movie and no Mickey, like a cartoon, right? It's like pretty. I mean, it's Furiosa, but no one wants to watch Furiosa. They want to see Mad Max doing stuff. What a weird like choice on that. That'd be like making a Dune movie with no Paul. Now I get it if it's a different era of the Dune universe he's not in. I get that. Like this Dune prophecy is like, 10,000 years before Paul's not born. But like, imagine if, well, I guess they're making this game. I mean, the game's different situation, but if they made a Dune Part 1 and it was a completely alternate thing, that'd be weird. Like a movie. Oh yeah, Steamboat Willie horror movie. Yeah, I didn't see that. I know they were talking about that. Steamboat Willie. I remember House of a Thousand Corpses. You ever seen that movie? I watched that in whenever that came out. I watched it on one of my deployments when I was in the army, and we were just like Dr. Satan. And they find Dr. Satan at the end. He's underground, torturing people. What a weird movie. They'll never do Butlerian Jihad. It would be way too much CGI and special effects. Like that, they would need a $200 million budget on that. Those books are badass. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people hate them because they're not as, what's the word? They're more like a regular sci-fi novel. Like there's capital ship battles and AI robots, and That's a much more of a the Butlerian Jihads are more of a standard science fiction kind of thing, whereas Dune itself is more niche and kind of, you know, I won't say retro, but more they're more medieval. I think they would say it's more of a Battlestar Galactica ripoff, the Butlerian Jihad, because it kind of it's more closer to Battlestar Galactica with the Cylons, but that's hard to say for sure. I really like that Battlestar Galactica show, and I didn't like the ending where they go to Earth finally, and they're all just like, "Well, we're just gonna like remote fly the fleet into the sun to get rid of it, and just be stranded here." That didn't make any sense to me. And then Starbuck, she like flew and died and got resurrected. The aliens or that they didn't explain any of that. Or she is Cylon. I don't freaking know. I need to watch that again. I can't remember what happens to her. Does she just leave or does she stay with? We find out that Doctor was a Cylon the whole time, right? Because at the end he's still walking around Earth with the old girl. The Doctor was a Cylon the entire time, right? He just didn't know it. He was a Cylon and didn't realize it. I think that's what happened. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in those Butlerian Jihad books. I started rereading it again. And the Cymex are basically Kane from RoboCop 2. Remember that they put his brain in that? Kane from RoboCop 2. I wonder if they copied that. Well, RoboCop 2 came out in the 90s, but they put his brain in that robot. That's essentially a Cymek. That's the Agamemnon, the Cymex. All you gotta do is look at RoboCop 2 and they got his brain in the robot. That whole thing is awesome though. I love the Cymex, like how they think they're basically globalists. I think they're better. They're basically, Bill Gates and all these globalists that put their brains in these robots so they think they can take over humanity, which they did for a while. Then they let that one guy, who was it, which Cymek, stopped paying attention to the AI on that one planet, and they took over. Then they kind of took over the lead on controlling humanity. What was that? And he got pissed, and then they like basically, the Cymex took over all humanity. They were using the thinking machines first, and they controlled them. To control humans, they use them to control the empire. And then one of the Cymek generals was slacking, not really paying attention to what the AI was doing, and then they basically figured out how to take over the system. Because the AI they had hard coded rules where they can't kill the Cymek. They can't kill the Cymex, right? The AI. So they figured out a way to outsmart them, and they ended up taking over the entire control of all the worlds. And I can't remember it wasn't Juno, because that's Juno was his girlfriend, Agamemnon. One of the Cymek guys was slacking and let the AI take over, and he's all pissed. It's been like 1,000 years, or thousands of years, and he still like won't let it go. I don't know. Oh, it's funny. Well, they end up capturing. I think in the third book, they capture the one of the Harkonnen cousins or something, or one of the Imperials, and they put him into a Psymech body without his permission. He's like a slave, and then he's like basically a Neo Psymech now. He's like, oh, and he hates him, but he can't really attack him because there's fail safes. The Neo Psymechs can't harm them, you know, and then the Neo Psymechs can't. If the main Psymechs are wiped out, there's a fail safe where they blow up too. Which is kind of stupid, right? Because that means if you got killed, you want to. So basically, the Cymex are so. What's the word? These Cymex, was originally only 18 or 20 of them, the original Cymex, and a lot of them died off. I think Neo Cymex are like their minions they create from other humans. They put their brains in canisters, but they can't really do things autonomously. They have to kind of follow their orders, or they can get fail safe. They get shut off, killed. They can just remote kill them, I think. And then, but the Cymex are so like conceited and selfish and self-centered and just jerks that they don't want. If they can't have it, then nobody can, kind of thing. So if they get killed, then those guys, they die too. But I did a video on the channel. I don't know if you've seen. I did the first Harkonnen. Were actually good guys, because the Harkonnens were actually good. Xavier Harkonnen was like a huge. He's like the savior of humanity almost. At some point, he in the beginning of the first book, he stops the AI and Cymex from destroying the Geller shield, or what do we call it? The Holdsman, not Geller, that's Warhammer. I'm getting confused. The Holdsman shield that's basically blocking the AI from coming into the planet. But the Cymex can get through the shield. It's basically an EMP shield that they have around their the free worlds, that the AI, if they fly through it, boom, they get instantly fried. They can't get in. But Cymex have human brains, so they fly right through. Boom. There's only so many of them, so they can land with their giant walker bodies and stuff. They can land on in one of the first scenes of the book. They land on freaking Gidi Prime. Is it Gidi? No, not Gidi Prime. The Sardaukar world. Seleucus Secundus. So Seleucus Secundus becomes that prison planet where the Sardaukar are trained. But back in the day, Seleucus Secundus was like an oasis planet, kind of like Kaitan. Yeah, the Harkonnens and Atreides were best friends during all that, and then the one nephew or whatever it was, or cousin, Harkonnen. I can't think of his name right now. During the last final assault of the AI, he goes and tries to cripple the human fleet, because he doesn't want them to shoot the slaves and are in the canisters up and floating in. The AI put all the remaining slaves in these container ships as like a human shields in orbit. And Vorian Atreides is just going to be like, he's the fleet commander. He's like, I'm sorry, we got to shoot through him. We got to freaking blow everybody up to stop the AI and finally get rid of him. And then the one Harkonnen guy is like, no, I don't want to hurt the people. My people. And he tries to go in there and cripple the fleet, sabotage it in the fire control room to synchronize the fire controlled, because the fleets get synchronized, all their fire commands and stuff to the different ships. He tries to go in there and I think he cripples it for a couple minutes. I don't remember why Seleucus Secundus gets messed up. At some point, it becomes jacked up. But I'm reading all the books again. I've read a lot of the books, so I haven't read every book. I do a Dune channel. I haven't read every single. There's like 7. There's like too many books. I don't have time to read them all, and I forget them. I've jumped back and forth too, and plus the new Terminal List book came out, so I'm reading that. I'm listening. I'm doing an audiobook on that. The Jack Carr. It's more military stuff, like I'm over here explaining all the books, and I say forget them. I really don't forget them actually. You know what book I really do like? Paul of Dune, the direct sequel to Dune. Paul of Dune's awesome, dude. And it's like 4 year. It's the Brian Herbert book between Dune and Messiah. So it's what happens between Dune and Dune Messiah. That's a filler book. It's awesome, dude. It talks about like Paul's getting the Fedaykin ready to assault all these other planets, because they're doing the jihad, and so he builds like this swimming pool on Arrakis, this giant swimming pool, because he's like, you guys are gonna be fighting on planets with water, and then you guys never swam or have not dealt with water, so he has this giant training pool that's sealed in this like a room, and he's like throwing Fremen a Fedaykin, well, not really throwing them, but he's telling he's telling them to learn how to swim, and he throws like a freaking coin or something in the bottom of the pool, and then he's like, get me back the ring or coin, I can't remember what it is. Go to the bottom and get it. So he forces the Fedaykin to learn how to swim, and one of them like drowns, and then they pull him out, and he's like holding the ring or the coin, I think what it was. He had it in his hand, even though he drowned. He got it anyways, and then it's like an omen. Now it's like, oh, you have died from water, and then it got brought back. This is like a sign, right? Because they're like water sacred to them. It's pretty funny. And like Aaliyah's like a kid. She's like only like 10 there in this one, or 8, 7 or 8, I think at this point. And then everybody's still hanging out together at this point. Jessica, they have to hide Duke Leto's remains somewhere out there in the desert, because they didn't want it to be a shrine, because people will go nuts. The father of the Muad'Dib, they talk about that, and then I think that's when if I remember correctly, it's in this book where the Fade's daughter, because he knocked up Lady Fenring. She's gonna try to assassinate Paul, I think, in this book. I did a video on it. I can't remember her name off the top of my head now. It's kind of late. I have a lot of notes when I make my videos too, because I have to go back and refresh my mind. See, I hope they put some of that in then Dune Part 3, because Dune Messiah is so short. It's only an 8-hour audiobook. I don't know how many pages it is, but Dune Messiah is not much action. And I'm hoping they do Paul of Dune and merge it with Messiah, and kind of have like the first part of the movie is like maybe like the final battle or so that he's taken over the Imperium. Maybe they'll have a battle somewhere. Oh, you're a swimmer? Yeah. That I like that book. The Paul of Dune, it's pretty good. I know a lot of people don't like the Brian Herbert. It's closer to Dune than it is like the Butlerian Jihad books, where they're like really far out there with all the tech and stuff. But Paul of Dune is more in line like with Dune, because it happens a couple of years after Dune. So it's all with Paul and all them, and Lady Jessica and Aaliyah and all them. So it's more kind of feels more like the Dune books. So those are pretty good. I think that's one of the reasons why people don't like the Butlerian Jihad books and all those prequel books, is because they're very very out there. Some of them, as far as being like close to the lore and legend. the religion, you know, the what's the Bible, the Catholic Bible, whatever they call it. Wow, it's late. It's already 12 midnight here where I'm about to go to bed here in a second, but Orange Catholic Bible. The Orange Catholic Bible isn't really around yet, and then so they don't really have like that you know, humans are way different than they are 10,000 years before Dune, because in Dune it's a religious medieval, you know, anti AI, everything is Bene Gesserit control everything world now. So Valerian Jihad, it's all technology and ships and all this stuff. So you see when they become fanatical, because that one heart Carino girl survives when the I think it no not a Carino, she's a butler. Because if you remember correctly in the Valerian Jihad books, the Erasmus, the AI, kind of devious AI, freaking doctor psychotic AI guy, he makes a freaking he's testing humans, and then he makes a virus that can kill you in a couple days. It's like super COVID or something. But they launch these missiles. They send these missiles to these planets with no computers on them, so they can get right through the shields. Boom! They blow up in the atmosphere, and it releases a super freaking basically it's a super Ebola type thing, and it wipes out like tons of people on these planets. And the girl, the daughter of one of these nobles on this, she's like I think she's the niece or cousin of the butler who gets. She's like the one that they kill her. There's so much stuff in those going on in those books. But she doesn't die. She gets sick. She survives, and then she's like becomes super fanatical, and she starts the Balerians, the jihadis, like the entire anti-technology religion. She's like smashing computer screens and stuff. She gets all these people wild up. Destroy all technology. So it's really why it explains why there's no like robots and none of that stuff in Dune, and it's all medieval, like with basic analog flight, spaceships and stuff like that. And the Bene Gesserit in the book actually are using a hidden chamber with AI computers. They're hiding it. This is all of their gene tracing, all of their lineage tracing that they do, how they do all their selective breeding. It's the Bene Gesserit. They're using a freaking AI computer hidden in a secret lab to do all that, and they get caught. That's what the show's going to be about coming out, by the way. Dune Prophecy. Dune Prophecy is they get caught. Now, because it's based on, I just finished that book, so it's very fresh in my brain. It's the Sisterhood of Dune. They're not Bene Gesserit yet. They're called like the Sisterhood or something. That's why. But right, 80 years or so after the no, it's not 80. Yeah, it's like 80 years after the they beat the AI. In the Prophecy show, the Bene Gesserit, I'm calling that they're the Sisterhood. They have this AI supercomputer. They're hiding it on their planet Rossack, and they're using that to manipulate all of the breeding, because they start all the breeding, right? The breeding program, and they basically get caught using that AI, because AI is already banned at this point. They're going around and destroying remnants. So there's a whole team of these Duncan Idaho's ancestors, actually. They're part of the jihadis that are going to different planets and wiping out AI bases and stuff. I don't know if they're gonna have any of that in the show. Yeah, the emperor is cuckoo, and he finds out he has like some kind of cuckoo nutty gene. He's a little bit nuts. He finds out that the Bene Gesserit are using AI to do all the selective reading, and he sends in his like forces to like basically find the computer. He doesn't want to kill him in the book. I don't want to. I might be spoiling the show here. I don't know, but they're actually pretty messed up, man. The Bene Gesserit, they're pretty freaking messed up group of women. Because they're all women. Devious, man. One of them tries to. One of them is slowly giving the emperor a. They don't like him, so they don't want him to breed. They want his brother to be in charge, right? And then so they get a Bene Gesserit in there to like be his truthsayer, and I think they're gonna like have that truthsayer is gonna be poisoning with the I don't know if they're gonna do this in the show because it could be totally. I've seen some stuff that looks different than this book in the trailer, but they're feeding them not like male contraceptive essentially to make him sterile, and then they find that out. That's how he finds out about the AI stuff because they find the poison. The brother finds out. Wait a minute, this chick's poisoning his food. They test it. Then they arrest her, and they torture the heck out of her. They get the information, and then they string her up and they say she was an assassin. And everyone's like, they'll never believe that. But people are just begging for some assassin to be caught from the emperor before him or whatnot, like 15 years before or something, got assassinated. And they just string that chick up. That Bene Gesserit they just tortured. They string her up, and they're like, "Hey, we found the assassin." That's basically. There's all kinds of stuff in that book. Where I'm concerned about that book is, the Harkonnen. Valia Harkonnen is that she's that older actress in the trailer. She's young in the book, so it's almost like the show is going to take place about 25, 30 years after the book. So I don't know what we're actually going to see in the show. Like, Vorian Atreides is still around in the book. All right, so he's like went into exile on his own. He's traveling around and has a new family, and because he has life extension, he lives to be like 1,000 years old or something. Because his dad was the Simek, and the dad gave him life extension technology. So the first Atreides is actually the son of the Simek War General Agamemnon. I don't know if you remember that, but I'll go on for hours on this stuff, man. I was saying I don't know the books. I'm rattling them all off. People at work hate me. I ruin everything. Yeah, I'm pretty curious to see what's going to happen in the... I honestly thought in Dune Part 2, when he starts seeing he says, I've seen the, our past, our family's past. And for a split second, I thought he was going to see like a Simek or something walk by or something, but it just showed the Baron as the grandfather and then his sister walking. I was like, oh man, what if they show like a vision of like a, AI and walking through cities or something, or like in like him, and yeah, I don't know. I would have been going nuts, dude, if they showed that. I'm actually a fan of all those books, the prequel books, so I like them. A lot of people hate them. A lot of people were only want the Frank Herbert stuff and don't read any of the. It's so much extra lore though. It's so much fun to me. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen all my videos, but I do a lot of those videos, those lore videos from the prequel books. So yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this off though, man. I know you're listening to me ramble here and rant about this franchise, but it's about time for me to go to bed. But well, if anybody is still out there watching this video, I might cut it up and make it into a shorter one, just the clips about the initial review. But stay tuned for some more videos of that. Once I get my Topps Dune cards back. Once I get these oh yeah, 1 through 6, yeah, they're good. Well, Butlerian Jihad, there's 3 books really for that whole thing. There's Butlerian Jihad, there's the Machine Crusade, and then Battle of Corin. So it's 3 books. There's 3 books. Butlerian Jihad's the title of the first book, but there's actually 3 books that kind of are the war against the AI. So it's a lot of reading. It's like 20-hour plus audiobooks, but yeah. But just be looking out because I'm gonna be doing a live giveaway eventually once I get my graded cards back. I don't know if you've seen my other videos I put up, but I I was able to. I went hardcore into these collector Dune Part 2 Topps cards, so you can't even barely get them. Just go check those videos out if you get bored. But I unboxed all these, and then go look up the prices on eBay on them now. So I'm giving one of those away. So for free once it comes back. They're all at the grading place. I haven't got them back, and heck, by the time I get them back, I might be at like more subs. Who knows? But eventually, I'll get them back, and then I'm gonna do the giveaway. And hopefully, one lucky winner that watches the live stream will get a. Not a foil, but I will be given a base card. Probably a Lady Jessica base card. Yeah, I'm a huge Dune merchandise collector guy. So I got so much stuff here in my office. I'm looking at it all right now. But I did a video showing some of it too. Did they go crazy? Who went crazy? I was rambling so much. I'm not sure who went crazy. Oh, yeah, man. Go look up some of the prices on them, especially the foil cards. Yeah, they're wild. Hopefully they only go up because I got a bunch of them. hopefully they only go up in value. It looks like they will. They're very limited run. So those kind of limited series cards usually there's only 2,000 total cards made. There's only 500 parallels total. But yeah, I got a video that explained it all. But yep, I'll be doing a whole live stream again, giving one of those away, like a drawing wheel random give thing. Let's just hope they don't tank the franchise like they're doing with Star Wars. I have my personal opinions on Star Wars. I don't like it anymore. I hate what Disney did to it. But they've lowered the price on stuff. Like Star Trek 2, their stuff's losing value. Because I got signatures of Star Trek actors and all kinds of stuff. And that stuff used to be worth more. But because Paramount's ruining Star Trek as well, the value's going down. So let's just hope that Legendary and Warner Brothers and all these people, they don't make this franchise go in the garbage. So man, because these other franchises are just tanking their value, man. Like Star Wars stuff is gone, lost price, is losing value, and people want to say it's not, but you just go on eBay and look at. You can buy stuff cheap now. You can buy Star Wars stuff for cheap now, and stuff's on discount stores and all. You don't see any Dune merch in Ollie's. That's for dang sure. That stuff you have to get it online. You can barely, you know. I had to go to a Comic Con to find some pops. You can't even get these pops. Some of these Dune pops. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad I agree with that. I totally agree with one. Yeah, Star Wars is totally decimated, man. It's sad. It's really sad. I won't rant on that because then it gets great. People, I'm not trying to make my channel about that, my Dune stuff, crapping on stuff. Now, if Dune turns into a complete disaster, like Doctor Who and Star Trek and Star Wars and all these other franchises that are complete disasters, I have no choice but to go after it. But as of right now, I mean, I'm liking it. Even though they changed Chani a little bit in the movies, but it didn't bug me that much. But we'll see what happens. It seems so niche that you don't really hear a whole lot about people trying to like go after it. And so far it seems like Dune's somewhat in a good safe spot for that kind of stuff. And it's already kind of Dune already has a lot of the elements that you would think people, modern society, so to speak, would like. It has like environmentalism and resources, scarce, messing up that stuff. You have like governments messing with it. Has all that kind of stuff in it already from back in the day. So you can't. So you would think they would like, they like it how it is, but you never know, man, what's going on with this modern day stuff, man. Ruining franchises. But hey, at least we got the movies. We're gonna have this game. Hopefully that show trailer looked good, right? So the show trailer looked good to me. So as long as we kind of we're safe. We kind of have our stuff, our good stuff already out, so they can't go back and ruin that. Kind of with the original Star Wars stuff, right? We have those at least. Now the problem with that is that they're actively ruining the lore in Star Wars. So they're kind of making me not like it, but I'm gonna try and keep it compartmentalized in my head for Dune. But I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things that maybe it's too complicated for people to understand. Maybe Dune. Maybe it's just too. I'm not trying to be like I'm smart or something, but it might just be too you know higher, elevated as far as like you can see the videos I watch. It's a higher thinking kind of, franchise. The books are, at least anyways. So maybe people are just kind of like, Star Wars is simpler, you can ruin it easier. Star Trek was not, but they tried to. But I'm a huge Trekkie guy too. So I own all the Blu-ray. Dude, I go back and I watch the original movies. I love them so much. But yeah, I love all the Shatner and all the originals. Man, they're just so good. They're cheesy, but man, I'm gonna align with the Atreides. Yep, I'm definitely gonna align with the Atreides for me. Carino, down with Carino. Carino stinks. I like Princess Irulan though. The next movie's gonna have her probably in it a lot. I wonder how they're gonna do the whole Chani thing. I'm curious because she's basically they're broke up now, right? Essentially in the movie, but they weren't really like they were like all in love at the end of the book still. And then he has kids with her, but well, the kids are like 15 years later. 14, 15 years later for Dune Messiah, right? Then they have kids, so it's one of those things. Yeah, I cannot remember what Paul of Dune talks about with Chani. I had to go reread it, I guess, but I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, man, I got 5 people in the stream. I was about to turn off the live stream. You guys missed it. So, well, if you're just joining now, I've already watched the latest Dune Direct episode. I have it playing, recycling playing here, but I'm kind of close to ending the stream. But if anybody wants to type in the chat if you have any questions. Well, no, he still does a jihad. He still does. There is still a war after but it's slow. Because not every, like, it talks about it in the books. Like Caladan is basically like, hey, okay, we're with you, but there's some pockets of resistance of planets so they got to go and fight, and it just doesn't. They just don't instantly get on ships like at the end of the movie where they just board all those ships right away. It took some time. It took some time for him the prime to go. Um, it took some time to go get those resistance planets. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't kick off like that instantly. It took some years. Because it's like 4 years later, and they're still training Fedaykin to go invade planets. Yeah, so that's, I don't know. What if that's one of the paths? What if that's how they explain the movie? The movie is a slightly different path than the book. You know what I'm saying? That'd be kind of interesting. That's the cool part about it, Dune. You could kind of do that. You could kind of do alternate pathways because it's in the lore. It's in his mind. You know what I'm saying? So I think they did a good job. I love that movie. I love Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2. Yeah, a little bit torn on if I like Dune Part 1 better because Dune Part 1 had a lot of direct stuff from the book in it, much more than Dune Part 2. And so I get it though, why they did that for Dune Part 2 to make it flow better as a movie. And it works as far as the flow, cuz it's like they get to the point where I can't remember exactly what point in the book it jumps. There's a part in the book where it jumps 2 years. It jumps straight from, I've read the book multiple times. There's a certain spot in Dune where it jumps 2 years. Bam. I think it's after they're on the Harkonnen part when they jump over there to the you're hanging out on Giedi Prime watching the arena stuff, and then I think it jumps after. It either jumps right before that part or right after, and then it's basically it's like 2 years old, walking around, pissing off the Fremen kids and all the Fremen, and she's like talking to what's her dang name? Jameis's wife, Hera or whatever her name was. That she's basically the servant now for Paul, and she's like caretaking Aaliyah, and she's like, "You're so stupid." She's like freaking talking smack to everybody. She's stupid, mummy. And she's like talking to Jessica. Like, okay, Leah, you have to act like a kid. They totally cut that part out of the movie. Jameis's wife and the sons that Paul gets the family and makes the kids become like his direct bodyguards. And then they totally cut all that out, which I kind of understand. There really wasn't a reason really for it to have all that in there. And they make Paul Fedaykin before they even get to Siege Tabler. Because he kills Jameis, they make him a Fedaykin right there and there. Not Fedaykin, but he's like one of them. So that's all how all that unfolds is different. He did have to ride the worm, like later on, but he's pretty much like with them and from the get go, right after he kills Jameis, because he bested one of them, one of their best guys. And then let me see what else. I made a whole 10 things changes video. Thufir Hawat was totally absent from the movie, which that was my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint, for whatever reason, that's personally my biggest complaint, was no Thufir Hawat. I don't know why they cut his scenes. They give him that poison. He has to work for the Baron, and then he's helping them basically hunt down Muad'Dib. He doesn't realize Muad'Dib is Paul. And then at the end, at the throne room, he's basically gonna his orders from the Baron or from the Emperor, I think, actually. I can't remember. Is to poison Paul, and then Paul like confronts him. He's like, Thufir, you are like family to him. He's like looking at him. He's like, if you need to kill me, then I'll let you do it. Basically, essentially, he says that right in front of everybody, and then he's like breaks down and kills himself or something. I think he poisons himself because he feels so guilty. So that would have been kind of a not a happy ending. It's like maybe that's why they didn't have it. Yeah, because he tries to poison. He's supposed to poison him at the throne room scene in the book, and then he doesn't do it. I think the fight actually between him and Fade is better in the movie than in the book. Some stuff's better in the movie. The action's better. There's not a whole lot of action. As far as them harassing the Harkonnen spice mining Raban, there's not actually much of that in the book. The scene where he captures Gurney, that's almost exactly right out of the book. Except for afterwards, when the Baron stuff I like, but the Baron's not really that much in the second part of the book. He's a lot more in the first part. And then let's see, Fade tries to poison the Baron with the slave boy, with putting a poison needle in his leg. They cut that part out of the movie. They cut out the Thufir. I talked about that. Jameis's wife. That was a big stuff. The water of life. Jessica drinking the water of life does not happen like that in the movie. It's a big party almost, and Chani gives her the water of life. Chani becomes Sayadina in training, so to speak, after that. And then Chani is a true believer in all of it, pretty much. She's not like, there's not really this whole north versus south kind of thing in there like they put in the movie, where it's like the Southerners are more religious than the Northern. I don't remember that in the book at all. That's made up. And then I think they put that in there to kind of like, I don't know, man. The Southerners are more religious. Is that a thing? Is that a dig? I think they did that on purpose. But none of that was in there. And Chani was like all on board with the Fremen lore in the book. She's believed it all. She became Sayadina. So it's like that whole thing was. I don't know why they did that. Honestly, maybe to make more drama in the movie. And all in the movie they make it look kind of more. It's like Lady Jessica is kind of like pushing all this stuff, right, to make him look more like Muad'Dib or the Lisan al Gaib and all that stuff. But it's really Paul's plan in the book. Paul's really the one that she's kind of scared of him. In the book, Lady Jessica's a little bit scared of Paul throughout the book because Paul's just so like scary because he's seen everything already. Yeah, that was a little different in the movie. He finds out the Baron is the grandfather in a tent before they even meet the Fremen. That was another thing they did differently. Paul, they had Duke Leto the first. He gets murdered by Sardaukar. They had a baby in the first dang movie. Or book, I mean. He was back there at the siege when he's about to invade Arrakeen. And assassins get into the siege where they're hiding and murder the son. And he's basically like another thing in the book too. They didn't do too much in the movie was that sometimes the visions. Paul's getting confused on what's reality and what's a vision sometimes in the book. So some of it's like, was that a vision or was that real? He's saying that all the time. They didn't really do that in the book, in the movie, I mean. He just kind of has the visions and he knows it's a vision. Yeah, he's gonna do one more. He said that he'll do one more movie, Denis Villeneuve, and then he'll quit. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna do all that. So they'll probably be like, maybe in the beginning of the movie, he's leading kind of a jihad, taking over some planets, and then the whole third movie is probably gonna be the conspiracy to assassinate Paul. I'm guessing they'll bring back Jason Momoa as the Gola of Duncan Idaho hate. Aaliyah will start to fall in love with him. He's actually there to try to. He's one of the vectors they used to try to assassinate Paul. They got freaking some Fremen that are not happy. That become that they're the ones that blind them, I think. And then they'll have Bene Gesserit working behind the scenes with them. Those Thalaxu guys they're the ones that do the clone or the Gola of Duncan. The spacing everybody wants to murder him because he's messing with the spice. The Spacing Guild, the Chom, the Thalaxu, the Bene Gesserit, and then Princess Erlon hates Chani because she wants to get the action with Paul, not her. So she's basically feeding Chani contraceptive that messes her up. Then they try to assassinate Paul. They also have the little midget guy or the dwarf dude that's like instigating crap. I wonder if they're gonna have the dwarf guy. If they get Peter Dinklage to do it. What's that guy's name? The dwarf. And at the end, he's like, "We can bring her back," because Chani dies right in childbirth, and then he's like, "We can bring her back for you." He's like standing in the doorway, and Paul's like trying to resist it. He's like, "Stilgar, go ahead and kill him." That's like right at the end of the book, right? The dwarf is like basically his corruptor. I just picture that being Peter Dinklage. I don't know why, being that character. He's blind and he just walks off in the desert. I wonder if that's how they're gonna end the movie. His kids are born. That's probably how they'll end it. That's how you have to end it. That's how the book ends. So if they're not planning on doing any more, he'll just walk off and then basically becomes that prophet. They think he's dead, but he becomes that prophet, right? I can't remember what they call him. Comes back later. Because he's watching all the people worshiping him and all this crap. And he's like, crap, I'm not so. These people are worshiping just a regular loser. In his own mind, he's not a loser, but he's like, I'm just a human that has these visions. I'm not a god, but they're worshiping him like he's a god, right? So he goes cuckoo from that. Especially when he loses Chani. Man, it'd be good. I hope they have in the beginning like some, because there's not really like a battle at the end. Maybe he'll fight off. Now what they could do is do a really badass fight scene where he's fighting off those assassins, those Fremens and stuff, and he's just taking them out. Boom, 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 boom. That would be pretty cool. Like a really good choreographed, real good fight scene, like another Fade fight kind of thing, but with multiple attackers, and he's just freaking taking them out. That would be pretty cool. Because there's not going to be a battle in there. So that's why I'm thinking in the beginning of the movie they have a good battle scene where they're taking over one of the planets or something that was not in compliance, and it's kind of like the last final planet they're taking over before he goes back to Dune. But in the book, I don't think he's really going to these planets. In the book takes place, they've already won. They just like basically took over the last thing or something. He's just sitting on the throne and back on Dune. And the mom's not in the book. She's in Caladan with Duncan. I mean with Gurney. They don't show up till Winds of Dune, which is this direct sequel to Messiah. Which is another Brian Herbert book. I'm still talking about the books, and earlier I said I don't know nothing about the books. I'm just rattling them off. It's funny. No, I read that one too, Winds of Dune, which is pretty cool because basically Winds of Dune takes place right after Messiah, like 30 days, like a month after, and they send a messenger guy through fold space through one of the Highliners. He shows up at Caladan. It's like Lady Jessica Muad'Dib walked off into the desert, and she's like, "What? Why didn't you tell me before? What took so long?" So she goes with, does Duncan go? And on top of that, Aaliyah takes over the Queen Regent or whatever, Empress Regent of the Imperium, and she's basically like being a tyrant. And so Lady Jessica's got to go there back to Dune to try and convince Aaliyah to be like, "Hey, calm down a little bit. Let's not go cuckoo here and start murdering everybody." Because she wants to murder Irulan. And the Emperor Shaddam is still in exile. He's still alive. They ended up murdering Gohaim, Mother Gohaim, because she was one of the masterminds of trying to assassinate Paul. They kill her in retribution. They assassinate her, and then I'm not spoiling the whole damn thing, but yeah, it's pretty badass actually. The whole thing. Those later Brian Herbert books are better, I think, than the prequel stuff. They're closer with the Dune, like people know. They're all set with all those characters, so it adds a lot. So, but they didn't even mention jihad. They talk about jihad in the book all the time. They didn't say jihad in the movie once. Either of the movies. Yeah, I'm hoping the same thing, man. We'll get good battle scene in the beginning. The first part of the movie will be, I'm hoping, my theories. The first part of the movie will be some sort of like, couple war scenes or maybe one, and then we'll get the next part is all that Dune Messiah stuff going on. They throw him off they bring hate back in. They throw off his emotions and stuff because he loved Duncan so much, and then seeing him there, he's like, it's easy to trick and then his visions start messing up in Dune Messiah because of all of his. I think he's just out of balance, right? Because of all the stuff going on, he's like out of balance because he's feeling guilty of wiping people out. He doesn't really want to do it, and then Duncan comes back. There's all this stuff going on. They start trying to kill him. So I'm curious. Hopefully they get all the same actors back, and they kind of have to have Jason Momoa for this to work. Oh, and they got to have the Seitel guy, the hermaphrodite shapeshifter dude. He's one of the assassins, dude. He's murdering people, taking over their identities, and then they're on the. There's a little bit of a murder investigation aspect to the book too, with Aaliyah and Duncan or Hate. They're flying around in ornithopters and stuff, like kind of investigating these murders, right? And it's that Seitel guy. He's basically a Thalaxu. He was a face dancer, and he can change. He can look like any. He can morph and look like anybody. He kills you and takes over your persona. He's trying to get close to Paul, right? So, to murder him. But I forgot about the whole part. They'll have that too. But he can look like he can turn into a chick or a dude or whatever. He can morph. He's like a morphine guy. Pretty cool. Man, I've been here rambling. I gotta cut the stream off. But hey, I will work on my next video. Pay attention to that. Just look on the thing. I'm gonna have another lore video I'm gonna work on. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've had a lot of stuff going on, family life recently, so. But thanks for watching. Thanks for watching me the whole time, and me ranting and raving about the books and stuff. But